Welcome back to the deep dive. I want to start today by asking you to picture a standard biography. Usually you have, a beginning, a middle, and an end, right? You have one main arc. Maybe it's a politician, maybe it's an artist. But today, we're looking at a stack of sources that tells a story so dense, it feels like we're looking at three different people.
It really, really does. I mean, if you just compartmentalize the phases of this life, any single one of them would be Hall of Fame worthy on its own.
Exactly. We're talking about a man who lived three distinct lives back to back to back. Life one, the basketball savior who literally rescued a dying league. Life two, the public health catalyst who completely changed the way the world saw a deadly virus.
And then life three.
And life three, the billionaire business mogul who rewrote the playbook on urban investment.
We are, of course, talking about Irvin Magic Johnson. And what I love about this deep dive is that while, the Wikipedia article gives you the dates and the stats, when you actually synthesize all this information, you realize this isn't really a story about basketball. It's a story about the art of the pivot.
The pivot. I love that. That's a great word for it.
It's the perfect word, right? I mean, on the court, the pivot is fundamental. You keep one foot planted, that's your foundation, and you swing the other foot to change direction, to find a new angle to pass the ball.
Okay.
Magic Johnson has spent, 50 years doing exactly that in real life? He plants his foot in his core values and then pivots around obstacles that would have stopped anyone else cold.
And the obstacles were massive. We're not talking about small hurdles. We're talking systemic racism in the 1970s.
Yep.
A lethal medical diagnosis in the 90s and just deep corporate skepticism in the 2000s. He didn't just survive these things. He used them as leverage.
He absolutely did.
So let's unpack this. We have to start at the very beginning in Lansing, Michigan. Because before he was Magic, he was known by a much less glamorous nickname.
That's right. He was the garbage man.
And we aren't speaking metaphorically here. This is literal.
It is, 100%. And to understand the man, you really have to understand his father, Irvin Johnson Sr. He worked for General Motors on the assembly line. And the source material makes a specific point to note that in nearly 30 years, his father never missed a single day of work.
Not one day.
Not one.
That is a different generation of discipline. That is an industrial-grade work ethic.
It absolutely is. But here's the thing. A GM salary with 7 kids to feed only goes so far, right?
Sure.
So his dad had a side hustle before we even called them that. He collected garbage and cleaned a used car lot in the evenings and on weekends.
And young Irvin was his right-hand man. The sources describe him out there in the freezing Michigan winters, just hauling trash cans. And this is where the nickname comes from. The neighborhood kids, the same kids he was probably destroying on the basketball court. They'd see him hanging off the back of the truck, and they'd tease him. They'd yell, "Here comes the garbage man."
For a lot of teenagers, that is.
Yeah.
That's a crushing moment. It's shameful. You want to hide. But Johnson processed it differently. He later said that while he hated the name, he loved being with his dad. He absorbed that rhythm of labor. He learned that the unglamorous work is actually what pays for the dream.
It grounded him. It's such a stark contrast to the whole Showtime image we have of him in Los Angeles later, wearing the fur coats and the sunglasses.
Oh, yeah.
The foundation was built on a garbage truck.
And talent was in the blood, too. We shouldn't overlook that. His father played high school ball in Mississippi, and his mother, Christine, she played growing up in North Carolina.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah, she actually grew up watching her brothers play, and she learned the game fundamentally. So he had the genetics and the work ethic completely combined.
So he takes that work ethic to Everett High School, and this is where the garbage man dies and Magic is born. It's his sophomore year. He is 15 years old. And he posts a stat line that honestly just reads like a typo.
It really does.
It's 36 points, 18 rebounds, and 16 assists.
In a high school game. A 32-minute game. That is a triple-double that most NBA players couldn't pull off in their dreams.
It's insane.
It was a spectacle. And there was a sports writer there that night, Fred Stabley Jr. from the Lansing State Journal. He watches this 15-year-old kid completely control the geometry of the game, and he walks up to him afterward and says, "I can't call you Irvin. That's not enough. I have to call you Magic."
It's the perfect superhero origin story. But there was one person who hated it.
His mother.
Right. She was a devout Christian, raised him in the Seventh-day Adventist church. She heard the name Magic and thought it was sacrilegious.
Yeah, she was not having it.
Not at all. She thought it implied something supernatural or even demonic. She probably would have preferred, I don't know, the deacon or something like that.
But the name stuck. It was just too perfect. However, getting to that level of dominance, it wasn't just about basketball skills. He was dealing with a very, very serious social environment. This was the mid-1970s, and we have to talk about busing.
Yeah, this is a crucial part of the file. Johnson wanted to go to Sexton High School. It was a predominantly black school, 5 blocks from his house, great basketball tradition.
He would have been the king there.
He would have been the king there from day one. But because of desegregation busing, he gets sent to Everett, which was predominantly white.
And the sources paint a very visceral picture here. This wasn't just, awkward. This was hostile. We're talking about rocks being thrown at the buses carrying black students.
Unbelievable.
White parents protesting outside the school. And when he joined the basketball team, the racism was right there in the locker room.
That's the part that just blew my mind. His own teammates froze him out. He's the best player on the floor, maybe the best player in the state.
By far.
And his teammates wouldn't pass him the ball because he was black.
Imagine the psychological discipline that requires. His brother, Larry, had actually been kicked off the team after a confrontation. He begged Magic not to play. He said, "It's not worth it."
Wow.
But Magic had a different approach, and this is that pivot mindset again.
He didn't quit, and he didn't fight.
Well, he almost fought once. His coach, George Fox, had to intervene. But Magic realized something profound. He realized that if he wanted to win, and he was obsessed with winning, he had to lead. And to lead this team, he had to bridge that cultural gap.
He wrote about this later in his autobiography. He said that looking back, being boozed to Everett was one of the best things that ever happened to him.
That's a massive statement.
It really is.
Yeah.
He said it taught him, and this is a quote, how to understand white people, how to communicate and deal with them.
And that right there, that is the key to his third life as a businessman.
Absolutely.
When he's walking into boardrooms 30 years later to pitch Howard Thoughts at Starbucks or the Guggenheim Group for the Dodgers, he isn't intimidated. He learned how to navigate predominantly white spaces and find common ground when he was a 16-year-old kid at Everett High.
It's amazing how these early adversities become the toolkit for later success. But there was one tragedy in high school that really seemed to lock in his focus.
Yeah.
The death of Reggie Chastain.
This is the emotional anchor of his youth. Reggie was his best friend. They were inseparable. The source says they were always together, playing ball, riding around in Reggie's car.
Right.
And the summer before their final season, Reggie is killed in a car accident.
The description of Magic's reaction is just heartbreaking. He ran out of his house crying uncontrollably. It was the moment he realized he wasn't invincible.
But he channeled that grief. He dedicated the 1977 state championship season to Reggie, and they went on a tear. A 27-1 record, an overtime victory in the title game.
Wow.
Magic credits Reggie with his development as a person. He said, "I doubted myself back then." Reggie was the one who kept telling him he was special.
So he conquers high school, becomes a McDonald's All-American, and now he has to pick a college. And this decision, again, it comes down to a pivot. He chooses Michigan State, which was not a basketball powerhouse at the time,
Not at all.
over places like Indiana or UCLA. Why?
Because the coach, Judd Heathcote, made him a promise.
Okay.
He promised Magic he could play point guard.
Which, for our listeners who might not be deep into 1970s basketball tactics, was completely insane.
Well, it was revolutionary. I mean, Magic is 6'9". In 1978, if you are 6'9", you are a center or a power forward. Your job is to stand under the basket, grab rebounds, and put the ball back in the hoop.
Well, that's it.
You do not dribble up the court. You certainly do not run the offense.
But Magic saw the game differently.
He did. Because of his height, he could see over the defense in a way a 6-foot guard just couldn't. He could see passing lanes that literally didn't exist for smaller players.
And Heathcote was desperate enough to let him try it.
He was, and it worked. They win the Big Ten title his freshman year, and then comes 1979, the NCAA championship game, Michigan State versus Indiana State, Magic versus Bird.
The birth of modern basketball. It is still to this day the most watched college basketball game in history.
It's an unbelievable stat.
It really is. And it sets the stage for everything that follows. Magic wins, gets named most outstanding player. But the real victory was that this rivalry saved the sport.
Let's jump to the pros to explain that. 1979 draft, the Lakers take Magic first overall. He lands in Los Angeles, which it just feels like destiny.
It does.
He teams up with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
And right away, in his rookie season, they go to the finals against the Philadelphia 76ers. And this brings us to Game 6. This is the moment where the legend becomes fact.
The setup here is crucial. The Lakers are up 3-2 in the series. But in Game 5, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the league MVP, the team captain, the unstoppable force, he sprains his ankle.
Badly.
Badly. He can't travel. He's stuck back in L.A.
So the team is getting on the plane to Philadelphia. They are terrified. I mean, they think they're dead in the water without Kareem.
Of course.
And the rookie, 20-year-old Magic Johnson, walks onto the plane. He goes straight to seat, one of Kareem's seat, sits down, and turns to the coach.
And he says, "Never fear, Magic is here."
The audacity. I
It's
love
incredible.
that.
And the coach, Paul Westhead, he decides to just lean into the madness. He starts Magic Johnson, the point guard, at center.
A rookie point guard starting at center in the NBA Finals.
And he didn't just stand there. He dominated. The stat line is just absurd. 42 points, 15 rebounds, 7 assists.
Yeah.
He played every single position on the floor that night. The Lakers win the title, and he becomes the only rookie ever to win the NBA Finals MVP.
That moment saved the season. But you mentioned earlier that he and Larry Bird saved the entire league. Was the NBA really in that much trouble?
It was in dire straits. The sources are very clear on this. Before Magic and Bird arrived, TV ratings were plummeting. The NBA Finals were actually shown on tape delay. They weren't even broadcast live in prime time.
Wait, tape delay for the finals.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's how little the networks cared. There was a perception that the league was too black for mainstream America, and stories about drug use were just dominating the headlines. The league was reportedly near bankruptcy.
And then Magic and Bird happened.
It was the perfect narrative storm. You had Showtime in LA, the Hollywood Flash, the no-look passes, the fast breaks. And then you had Celtic Pride in Boston, the blue-collar grit. You had black versus white, West versus East. It gave everyone in America a side to choose.
And they were obsessed with each other.
Oh.
Larry Bird admitted that the first thing he did every single morning was check the box scores to see what Magic did the night before.
And Magic did the same. They just pushed each other to greatness. Magic ends up winning 5 championships in the 80s, 3 MVP awards. And he revolutionized the game with his passing.
Oh, yeah.
He still holds the record for highest assists per game average in history, 11.2.
There's a quote from his teammate Michael Cooper that I think sums up the whole Showtime era perfectly. He said, "There have been times when he has thrown passes and I wasn't sure where he was going. Then one of our guys catches the ball and scores, and I run back up the floor convinced that he must have thrown it through somebody."
That's the magic of it. He made the game entertainment. He made it a TV product.
So by 1991, he is on top of the world. He's an icon. And then the music stops.
Section 3, the announcement.
November 7th, 1991. I think anyone who was alive then remembers exactly where they were. Magic Johnson holds a press conference, wears a dark suit, and announces he has contracted the HIV virus and is retiring from the NBA immediately.
And to understand the gravity of this, you have to contextualize 1991. Today, we know HIV is manageable. Back then, it was a death sentence, plain and simple.
It was.
And culturally, the stigma was incredibly heavy. It was seen as a disease that only affected drug users or the gay community.
And here's the alpha male of sports, a heterosexual superstar, standing up and saying, "I have it."
And notice what he did there. He didn't hide. He didn't make up a story. He admitted to his lifestyle. The source notes he was very open about having what he called harems of women. He was promiscuous. And he used that admission to send a very specific message. Heterosexuals are at risk too.
That's the Magic Johnson effect.
It was a real phenomenon. Public health data showed a massive spike in heterosexual men getting tested in the months following that announcement. He didn't just raise awareness, he arguably saved thousands of lives because people finally stopped thinking they were immune.
But the stigma didn't just vanish overnight. And that brings us to the 1992 All-Star Game.
This is one of the most tense moments in sports history. Magic had been retired for months. He hadn't played. But the fan voted him in as a starter.
They wanted to say goodbye.
They did. The players, however, were not all on board.
Right. Former was very vocal, basically arguing that if Magic got a cut on the court, everyone would be at risk.
The medical science said the risk was infinitesimally small, but the fear was real. People thought you could catch it from sweat.
Right.
So Magic walks onto that court knowing that guys are afraid to touch him.
And what does he do? He goes out and wins the MVP. 25 points, 9 assists.
And the ending is just cinematic. He hits a three-pointer to end the game, and players from both teams, including the ones who were skeptical, rush the court to hug him.
That image.
Yeah.
Sweating, smiling, hugging.
Yeah.
It did more to destigmatize HIV than 1,000 medical journals ever could.
And he followed that up By co-captaining the Dream Team at the 1992 Olympics.
In Barcelona.
Winning gold. Proving that an HIV-positive man could still be the best athlete on the planet. He redefined what sick looked like.
Now, we tend to skip over the next part of his basketball life, but the comeback years are actually really interesting. They're a bit messy, but they're interesting.
They are. I mean, did you know he came back as a coach?
I always forget that. Coach Magic. Just sounds weird.
It does. It was 1994. Jerry Buss, the Lakers owner, urged him to take over the team, and it did not go well.
Why not? You'd think the greatest point guard ever would be a great coach.
Yeah.
He sees the whole floor.
That was the problem. He couldn't understand why his players weren't Magic Johnson. He couldn't understand why they couldn't see the passing lanes he saw. He got frustrated with their lack of vision. He went 5-11 and resigned after a 10-game losing streak.
Wow, that's fast.
Yeah, he basically said, "It was never my dream to coach."
But the itch to play was still there. So in 1996, at age 36, he comes back as a player.
But this was a different Magic. He had bulked up to 255 pounds. He wasn't the nimble guard anymore. He was playing power forward.
He was still effective, though. He nearly had a triple-double in his first game back. The skill was there.
He was effective, but the chemistry was just gone.
Yeah.
The new generation players, guys like Nick Van Exel and Cedric Ceballos, they didn't worship him. They kind of resented him stepping back in and taking the spotlight.
Right.
There was friction. Magic actually got suspended for bumping a ref. It was a messy end. He retired for good to go out on his own terms.
But even then, he didn't stop playing. He formed the Magic Johnson All-Stars and barnstormed around the world.
Which is a fascinating bridge to his business career. He's traveling to Australia, to Israel, to Japan. He's shaking hands. And there's this weird little footnote. In 1999, he played in Sweden.
Sweden?
Yeah, a team called M7 Borås. He played 5 games. They won all 5. But here's the key. He didn't just sign as a player. He became a co-owner of the club.
And there it is. The pivot from employee to owner.
Exactly. The club eventually failed financially, but the seed was planted. He realized he wanted equity. He wanted to own the team, not just play for it.
Which brings us to life 3, the mogul, Magic Johnson Enterprises. And this isn't just an ex-athlete putting his name on a steakhouse. This is a billion-dollar empire.
And it started with him being humble enough to ask for help. While he was still playing, he reached out to Michael Ovitz, the CEO of creative artists agency, the Super Agent.
Right.
Magic asked him, "How do I become a businessman?"
And what did Ovitz tell him?
He told him to stop reading the sports pages and start reading business magazines. And he told him to use his connections. He said, "When you're on the road in a city, don't just sit in the hotel. Call the CEO of the biggest company in town. They will take the meeting because you're Magic Johnson."
That is brilliant advice.
It is.
Yeah.
So Magic started treating business like he treated learning the point guard position. But just like in basketball, you miss some shots. His first venture was a sporting goods store called Magic 32.
And it tanked.
It failed in a year, lost $200,000. But this is the pivot again. He analyzed the failure. He realized he was just relying on his name. He wasn't listening to the customers. He didn't have a unique value proposition.
So he corrected. And that correction led to his masterpiece, the urban investment strategy. This is the Starbucks story.
This is a Harvard Business School level case study. Magic looked at the American landscape and saw a massive inefficiency. Major retail brands, coffee, movies, casual dining, were completely ignoring urban minority neighborhoods. The assumption was that there was no money there or the crime rate was too high.
They were leaving money on the table.
Billions. So Magic goes to Howard Schultz, the CEO of Starbucks. He pitches him. "Let me open Starbucks in Harlem, in Crenshaw, in Detroit. The demand is there."
And Schultz was skeptical, right? I imagine he was.
Very. But Magic proved it. They formed a partnership called Urban Coffee Opportunities. But Magic didn't just copy-paste the suburban Starbucks model. He customized it.
This is the part I love. He knew his customer.
He did. He told Schultz, "We don't want scones, we want sweet potato pie." He took out the soft jazz music and put in R&B. He made the space culturally relevant to the community.
And the result?
The result was that his urban stores often reported higher per capita sales than the suburban stores.
Wow.
He proved the thesis. When he sold his interest back to Starbucks in 2010, he made a massive profit, estimated around $75 million. But more importantly, he created a blueprint. He showed corporate America that ignoring Black communities was just bad business.
And he took that capital and started building what he calls his 16 championships.
It's a great stat. He counts his college title, his 5 NBA titles as a player, and then 10 championships as an owner.
The portfolio is just staggering. Let's run through it.
Well, the crown jewel is the Los Angeles Dodgers. He was part of the Guggenheim Group that bought the team for $2 billion in 2012. At the time, people thought they overpaid.
Doesn't look like an overpay now.
Not at all. They won the World Series in 2020 and then back-to-back in 2024 and 2025.
Then you have the LA Sparks in the WNBA.
Won a title in 2016.
LAFC in Major League Soccer.
Won the Cup in 2022.
And he didn't stop in LA. In 2023, he joined the ownership group for the Washington Commanders in the NFL.
He invested $240 million in that deal. He calls it his greatest business achievement because the NFL is, it's the biggest stage in American sports business.
So as of May 2025, Forbes estimates his net worth at $1.5 billion. He is officially a billionaire.
From the back of a garbage truck in Lansing to a billionaire owner of NFL and MLB teams, that is a trajectory that defines the American dream.
And the accolades match the bank account. In January 2025, he received the Presidential Medal of Freedom,
the highest civilian award in the U.S. He received it alongside Hillary Clinton. It recognizes that he isn't just an athlete. He's a public health hero. He's an economic developer.
And looking forward, the source notes he's been named the Grand Marshal for the 2026 Rose Parade. He is basically the king of Los Angeles at this point.
We can't finish the business section without circling back to one relationship. Jerry Buss,
the owner of the Lakers.
Magic viewed him as a second father. Buss didn't just sign his checks, she mentored him. He brought him into the books. He explained how the salary cap worked, how real estate worked.
But there is a specific financial detail in the source that really highlights this loyalty. In the early 90s, when Magic wasn't even playing, Buss paid him
$14 million. It was a balloon payment. Buss felt that he had underpaid Magic during the 80s when the league wasn't as wealthy. He wanted to make it right. That $14 million was crucial seed capital for Magic Johnson Enterprises. It gave him the liquidity to make those first big moves.
It's so rare to see that kind of loyalty in professional sports. Usually when you stop playing, the checks stop coming.
It speaks to the personal bond. Magic said, without Dr. Jerry Buss, there is no Magic. He even coached for free in that disastrous '94 stint just to help Buss out.
We should also touch on his personal life. It hasn't been without turbulence, but it seems incredibly stable now.
He's been married to his wife Cookie since 1991. They weathered the storm of the HIV diagnosis together, which is just an incredible testament to their bond.
Absolutely.
They have a son, EJ, who is a reality star and a fashion icon, and an adopted daughter, Elisa. And Magic has a son, Andre, from a previous relationship.
And despite the harems comment from the 90s, the source notes his faith is central to his life now.
He's come full circle to his upbringing. He is very open about his Christianity. He says it's the most important thing to him. It really is a complete evolution of a human being.
So let's bring this all together. What does this deep dive tell us?
I think Magic Johnson is the blueprint for the second act. He took a nickname meant to shame him, Garbage Man, and turned it into magic. He took a segregated bus ride and learned how to bridge cultures. He took a deadly diagnosis and turned it into a platform for survival. And he took a basketball salary and turned it into a billion-dollar enterprise that revitalized urban economies.
It's the refusal to be defined by a single label. He controlled the narrative.
Exactly. He never let the circumstance dictate the outcome. He always found the pivot.
But I want to leave you with a provocative thought, something mentioned in the source material that really makes you wonder. In a recent interview, Johnson said he wished he hadn't retired in 1991.
Oh, this is a fascinating rabbit hole.
He believes that with what we know now about HIV and how healthy he stayed, he could have kept playing. He was only 31 years old. He was coming off an NBA Finals appearance.
It is the greatest what-if in basketball history.
If the stigma of HIV hadn't forced him off the court, what happens? Do the Lakers win 2 or 3 more titles?
Does Michael Jordan win 6 rings?
Does Michael Jordan win 6 rings? Does Hakeem Olajuwon win his 2?
We missed out on 5 years of prime Magic Johnson.
We were robbed of seeing the greatest point guard in history age gracefully on the court.
It's a tragedy for the game. But if he stays on the court, does he start the business empire? Does he save those lives with his activism? Sometimes the forced pivot, the one you don't want to make, leads to the destination you were meant to reach.
That is a fascinating trade-off to consider. Thanks for listening to this deep dive into the 3 lives of Magic Johnson. Hopefully it inspires you to look for the magic in your own pivots. We'll catch you on the next one.
See you next time.